And I saw his mom literally lifting him up by his hair and literally spank him with the other hand. Hey, what's up guys? How's it going? I hope you're all doing well. And welcome back to my channel. And today I have for you an elementary school story which is absolutely crazy because you see, I used to know a guy and he was so spoiled, like to the max. And his parents were really rich and he just got all the, computers and whatnot and like PlayStations and Nintendos, everything he wanted really. And his life was just really good. He had a girlfriend even. I think he was like one of the first guys at our elementary school class to have a girlfriend. So, most of the guys at our class, they were just so jealous of him in general. Anyways, make sure to stick through the end to the video because you will not believe what happens. And he definitely gets what he deserves. But first, I want to tell you, if you want to send in your own stories, you can of course do so by mailing me. Link is in the description, my email is in the description, and let's just jump right into it. So the story begins when I was 8 years old and I was like in this elementary school, and it's basically right next to my home. And you know what's weird? Because the school was so close to me, I was like living so close to my school, I was always too late. You know how it is? Like you're like close to the school anyway, so you don't really feel obligated to like pack your bag or like go up early, I just, it kind of makes you lazy if if everything is close to you. So that was always kind of like the main reason why all the teachers tried to shit on me for like not coming to class on time. But in general, I was definitely not a bad student at all. I was kind of like this mediocre student, this kind of like weird quiet kid, I would say. There were definitely some weirder kids in my class and some like more evil kids, I guess you can say, like more bullying kids. And one of the guys, one of the main protagonists of the story, the main protagonist of the story was actually one of them, and he came actually from another school. So until I was like 7 or 8 years old, like our class was pretty quiet, and no one ever did anything. There were no bullies in the class and everything was just really good. I had quite a lot of friends who I used to play video games with, I just used to go to their house and play video games with them, or like just play outside, play some football outside. But then all of a sudden this new kid comes around the block and he transfers from like an elementary school kind of like close to my home too, but not yet, but also pretty far away. It was actually kind of like the elementary school my younger brother used to go to. So anyways, this guy transfers, right? And I remember it was gym class, that was the first class he went to our school to. And eventually we were just dressing up, right? We were like all in the dressing room. All of a sudden this weird kid comes around, and at first I was looking at him and he was just the shyest dude ever, okay? He didn't say anything. He didn't even greet us. He was just sitting on the bench in the dressing room, kind of like looking at everyone around him, and he was just so shy all around. And that is totally not the like personality he had later in the year, when he wasn't shy anymore, when he already got to know everyone. But back then he was just such a cool kid, I guess. So I didn't really think negatively of him at all. So eventually he started to become more comfortable with people, and soon the guys in our group found out that he was really good at playing sports. He was really athletic. Even though he was kind of like on the chunky side, still he was a fast runner. His stamina was like really high, and his charisma was just so high, like he used to be this mute guy who didn't say anything, and all of a sudden he's got a girlfriend. He's got like almost all the guys in the class just started loving him and started like being friends with him and everything. And I guess kind of like I was a little bit jealous because of that situation, but still, like I still had my friends. I still had like some friends outside of my school. Like my best friend at the time, actually, he was not in this elementary school I was in, so I was kind of like hanging out more with my best friend outside of school, so I didn't really mind too much. But nonetheless, I was jealous a little bit. And honestly, I don't know why, but he kind of started to develop some kind of grudge towards me. I don't know, he just hated me for no reason. Maybe he thought I was weird, or I just don't know. And eventually, he just became all negative around me, and people around him also became negative towards me. And just right from the get-go, I was just asking to myself, why do his parents just not tell him that his attitude is just so bad, that he's acting like some kind of spoiled brat? And guess what? I wasn't wrong. I wasn't wrong a single bit, because turns out that both of his parents actually own a restaurant. So they have the money, you know, they have the money to buy him toys and PlayStations and everything, which they did. Like, I remember back in 2008, 2009, when the iPhone first came out, he was literally the first person I've just known in general to have an iPhone, and back then they were like $1,200 or something, like crazy expensive. And his parents always gave him food from the restaurants to school, so like, you know, he was a bit chunky because of that, because obviously that food is not healthy at all to eat every single day, but nonetheless they always gave him that food. And I just remember being so jealous at him, because why does a guy that has such a shitty attitude get everything, get all the video games, get all the good food, you know, my parents could barely afford, you know. I would just get a homemade soup or like a homemade meatball or something like that, or like potatoes, mashed potatoes. And this guy straight up taking a pizza to school and eating it during lunch. Like, oh my god, that was quite a sight back then. Anyway, so one day this guy decided to invite almost the like entire class to his house, and his house was kind of like a little bit outside of the city. He was like living in a pretty big house, and he was just inviting the guys to like play soccer with him and everything, and the girls to just also come if they wanted to, of course. And because he invited the entire class, he also invited me, even though probably know that he didn't want to, but it would be pretty weird if he didn't invite me, and of course his parents would find out, the teachers would find out if I snitched on him, obviously. So he was like thinking to himself, maybe I should invite Raj too, because otherwise I might get in trouble, and whatever, I have my older friends anyways, he can do whatever he wants, he's just invited, whatever, you know. So yeah, that happened, and I actually decided to bring my best friend with me, even though he was in another school, and because I heard that the older kids also took their older friends with them, you know, invited them with them. So anyways, it was like 2 p.m. or something in the afternoon, and I go there, and not gonna lie, the house was pretty damn nice, okay? There was like this big house, this big yard, and the street around the house was also like so big, so there was plenty of room to play, and there was also a tiny forest behind the garden. So then we basically watched a movie, pretty funny comedy movie, I remember, nothing too PG-18 or something like that, you know, kind of like a kids movie. So then afterwards we went outside, and the guy, the main protagonist of the story, the spoiled brat I am talking about, he invited me and my friends and basically every other guy to play with BB guns. And if you don't know what BB guns are, it's basically like fake guns. You can kind of use, they can be plastic, they can be from metal even, but they don't work like real guns. They work like basically a toy gun, and it's shooting kind of like these BB gun plastic little tiny balls basically. However, these BB guns were not a joke at all. Like, if someone would shoot you and you have like a thick winter coat on, you literally feel the bullet, like the tiny ball, you literally feel it against your skin, and it can literally bruise your skin. It's like ridiculous. There's such a big spring in those guns, like they should be illegal. And they actually were, they were illegal. I think he bought them somewhere in like Croatia or something. So yeah, I mean, I'm from the Netherlands, and we have kind of like baby guns, baby weapons, but not those. Those were like really the serious thing. And yeah, eventually we just started like shooting at each other. Like, we just started like going to the forest and shooting at each other and kind of like seeking cover from the trees. But you see, he also had like protective plastic armor you could wear, and then you would not like feel the pain of the impact of those plastic balls. And he had armor, like his best friend had armor, and he gave some other guys armor, but he didn't give me armor. So eventually what the fucker did is he went into the forest and accidentally, in quotes, you know, of course he didn't do it accidentally, he did it on purpose, he started shooting in my direction pretty often, and he started hitting me with the bullets pretty often, and it was so damn annoying and painful. And at some point I was just like, dude, stop doing this. This is so damn annoying. Why are you doing this? And he started teasing me, he started laughing at me, and his cringy girlfriend also started laughing at me. It was just such a sight to behold, honestly, and I was so annoyed by it. He was such an asshole, honestly. However, he completely forgot that apparently his parents had some cameras around the garden, and also there was like one camera around the forest to like look for you know, if people enter the house or not, if like burglars enter the house, kind of like a security camera system, I guess you can say, like a network. So they were watching at the cameras like footage, and they saw what their son was doing. And eventually I remember his dad being so damn dramatically like angry at him, and I was like so happy that his dad was actually someone with common sense. Even though he had money, even though he spoiled the kid, he was not happy at all. And his mom actually came outside of the house, and his mom was honestly so damn strict, like holy hell, she was so strict. She literally grabbed one of his ears and pulled him on his, like, around the house, all the way around the house, inside of the house. And there was this one window, and I never forget it, like, for the rest of my days. There was this one window, and a light was shining through the window, and it was already kind of getting darker, so you could really see clearly if you would look at the direction of the window, because there was a light there, obviously. And I saw his mom literally lifting him up by his hair and literally spank him with the other hand, spank his behind with the other hand. It was just such a sight to behold. And I remember all of my friends, like my best friend and like all of his friends, we were all standing outside and just watching the window, and we were laughing so hard, man. We were laughing our asses off. It was so hilarious and so deserved, honestly. And apparently the teacher was also there, which I actually forgot to tell, because the teacher, he used to, you know, have like a pretty good bond with us, and he actually volunteered to pick some of us up, you know, back up and drop us back home. So he was there too, and he saw it happen. And honestly, those times were just so hilarious. So yeah, he definitely deserved it. And yeah, all's well that ends well. Moral of the story: don't be a dick, okay? Please. Thanks so much for making it to the end. If you like my content, make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. Like the video, it really helps me out in the algorithm. I'm hoping to hit 300 subscribers by the end of this year, so if you smash that subscribe button, it would really mean the world to me. Also, the best way to support my channel is to binge watch my other videos. They are showing up on the screen right now. Make sure to check out the suggested tab. And guys, I will see you in the next episode. Peace.